Creative Connections involves running a series of drama workshops with schools, and those workshops are to do with anti-racism, anti-sectarianism, human rights and equality. And the workshops consist of running a programme of drama games and exercises with the young people and using those games and exercises to engender debate and discussion around the issues and to promote anti-sectarian and anti-racist attitudes.
So I think that the power of this project is that we allow teenagers, young people, to share a space with people that are exactly like them, but from another community or from another religion, and to meet. We use the theater as a tool for learning, to learn who are we, but most important, who can we be? Yeah, what is the potential of us? Mostly I use Augusto Boal's Theatre of the Oppressed method and techniques, and it means that I'm using a lot of games and exercises. Every game is with a structure of a situation of oppression, and how we can use our creativity in order to challenge it or to fight against it. And I use a lot of the image theater, using the body as a form of knowledge and as information. And our body brings experience that maybe it's from a subconscious level, I would say. We just play with games, and we just, at some point, we just stop and we look and, look what I did with my body, I did this. And other people can observe it and teach me also what is it that I did. So the process is action, observation, and then reflection. And when we reflect, there is an option for analysis, and to analyze and to see what do we learn from this and what do we learn from them. This is one of the things that allow people to practice, as Augusto Boal says, as a rehearsal for real life. We use the theater, we use the safe space that we create in order to rehearse situations that in real life we just let them be. But in the theater we have the chance to stop it and to say, no, this is wrong. I'm angry, I want to change it. And off I go and I can change it. And then hopefully that when I go out there and I hear a comment from somebody, a racist comment or a sectarian comment, I will say stop, because I practice it in the theater. So I will say stop in another way, say, I don't agree. And then I will create a dialogue. And in this dialogue, there is a risk, there is a chance also to change. So that's what we practice basically in our theater.
I think that's really great for the pupils to meet other students from other areas, over the border, from different maybe religious backgrounds. So it's really actually great to bring them together and get them to share ideas, and they actually see that they're not any different, or they don't have anything to worry about. The usual prejudices are usually not true. Drama allows people to sort of process their emotions, process their stories, process their ideas. So it always is a good thing, really, to at least you're getting something out there so you can examine it and look at it and explore it.
In the workshop, we carried out lots of games and exercises and techniques, all centred towards the emotions and different ways to express emotions. I think image work is very good for freeing all that up, and we'd worked on stories previously before the image work, and then we got to create just different images and just using our bodies, how people interpret bodily language and as opposed to the spoken word. So it was very purposeful that there was no words spoken, there was nothing, people didn't know what image they were being sculpted into, and that they were just at the mercy of someone's emotion, someone's dilemma, and they had to interpret that. And then the whole group had to feed back on what they seen in the picture, and sometimes what they seen in the picture was something completely different to what the image was supposed to be. It's very liberating for people to be able to express their emotions physically. In general, people when they're freed up and their emotions are out there and they're able to express those openly, then they're more willing to talk about experiences, to talk about what has happened to them, or to bring stories into the space. And when things are dramatised as well, it becomes better to be able to do it. It's not like you're not sitting down with a counsellor going, well, this happened to me and that happened to me. You're able to do it almost as a third person. Problems can't be solved if they're never talked about. So through the likes of these workshops, people are able to openly express that, And if you change one person's perspective on something, or if you raise their awareness on something, then that's going to filter out.
My name is Raymond Keane and I'm Artistic Director of Barabbas Theatre Company. It's nice to be here with Smashing Times again, a company that I have enjoyed working with over the years and bringing what are my skills, if you like, or my theatrical base into this realm. One of my favourite ways of working actually is with theatre professionals and others, so the workshop becomes a more meaty place to be and a more profound place to be actually, because it challenges what is just theatre into and pushes it into a different form of human investigation. For me, the clown is about all of humanity in all its beauty, joy, love, truth, vulnerability, gullibility, stupidity, failure, divine failure. For me, the clown can kind of uncover or mirror back to us ourselves at our most divine and our most animal, in fact. So it's for me, it's the truest exposition of an actor on stage, and to have that direct dialogue with your audience is a really special place to be. Today we'll be working with the Mask of Four Temperaments, which are essentially the four humours of the self, and we can take they are physical masks, which the participants will get to experience and wear some of them, but it's more of an investigation into what it is and how we operate within our humours. It's good fun. It's kind of a bit like, pop psychology at times. People get a real buzz from it, but also we begin to really see ourselves, about how we might operate, even in a group, a family group, or the wider society. Smashing Times in these seminars and these workshops, you get quite a wide range of people from very different disciplines, whether it's, say, mental health or social studies or theatre practitioners, whatever, and to have access, I guess, to very simple tools that they don't necessarily have to use in a theatrical context, but I think what a lot of people find, and what is enriching for me, is that people coming from other disciplines have insights into my work, and ideally then they can take my work and attach it to theirs.
As part of the project Creative Connections, what we have done is developed a new theatre piece which is called Thou Shalt Not Kill. And Thou Shalt Not Kill is a series of installations of living theatre performances. Living theatre in that the stories told in the performances are true. They're true stories or experiences. They are fictional pieces, but what we have done through a process of interviewing people, through a process of research, we have gathered stories together and then used those stories of people's experiences of conflict and trauma and ways to move forward, taken those experiences and created performances that are fictional but are telling living theatre stories, historical stories to do with people's experiences of living through trauma and conflict. And a key part of the project is to explore how people can move forward and to look at ways forward for peace in Ireland and Northern Ireland. The reason you're telling the story in a way is to remember the past, and also for people to talk about and explain the experiences of how they became involved in conflict or how conflict affected their lives, and to look at a way of using those stories to promote peace for the future. And to give an example of the stories, Thou Shalt Not Kill has 3 pieces. One piece is called Crossings, and it's the story of a man who's an ex-combatant, and he talks about his violent past and how he became involved in that past and the path that he's now on towards peace, which is a very difficult path, but it's a path he's determined to follow. And we follow his journey as he moves away from violence towards peace. And we also engage with him on an emotional level as well, which is important, that all stories are important, and to hear all those stories and the difficult stories as well, and the journeys that people go on. We also have stories of people who have experienced conflict in terms of losing people in their life. And one of the stories then too is a story of a young woman called Alice and the loss she's experienced, and her resilience and her spirit, and how she's found a way to not ever get rid of, but to work through what has happened to her. Tying up all the pieces, we have a physical movement piece which we devised, and it's an interesting character called Faith. I suppose she's Faith in that she is someone who's always present, and she lives in that space where the ghosts of the past live. And she moves in and around the characters, and she goes to a piece of rubble and takes a stone from the rubble, and that stone is handed on to someone who wants to come into the space and tell their story. And it's like it's where storytelling came from. The idea of the stone being passed on to someone who wants to tell a story. And our set, if you like, is a space of the edge. It's the edge where the ghosts live that won't go away. And what's happening in the piece is the characters are trying to find a way to banish ghosts or to find a way to reconcile what's happened in the past and find a way to move forward.
The two performances that you've used, the way in which they're written and the way in which they encapsulate a lot of the problems that a lot of people, especially in the border areas, would be facing. People who are victims, people who are carrying grief over a number of years, carrying that hurt, that comes out in the performance. And also people who were involved in the Troubles, maybe ex-prisoners, ex-combatants, who are carrying guilt, who are carrying hurt as well, probably, and who have experienced, and maybe now they've lost their families, their ex-prisoners have lost their families, they can't find employment, they have drug problems, alcohol problems. All of this comes out very, very strongly through the performances and very well acted.
Thou Shalt Not Kill is always followed by a post-show discussion where we invite the audience to engage in discussion with the actors and with artists who've worked on the project and with panel members. And the audience are invited to discuss the issues that have been raised, to discuss the artistic processes of how we've developed the piece, the research the actors have done, because it's very important that they're seen as artistic pieces in their own right. They are quite dark, but there is hope and light in these pieces as well. And when I say that they're dark, they are stories of conflict, but they are entertaining. People do go on a journey and you engage emotionally and you're connected emotionally to the pieces. That's what we found audiences have said to us, is that they can engage on an emotional level and go on those journeys and experience what the characters are going through, which I think is important for theatre. And then the discussion is used then to open up debate on those issues and to hear feedback from the audience. The symposium that we held for Creative Connections had a series of speakers. We had Karen Ward, who is a holistic psychotherapist, and we had drama facilitators Raymond Keane from Barabbas and Fiona Bond Thompson from Smashing Times Theatre Company. And the panel, as part of the symposium, there was a panel discussion which involved all the speakers and the facilitator artists. And the discussions were in relation to how drama and theatre can be used for healing, and the intersection between creativity and peace building and healing and trauma, and how the arts are being used to look at the issues, if you like, that have arisen from the conflict in Northern Ireland and in relation to promoting the peace process. Creative Connections is a project supported by Donegal CTP Peace and Reconciliation Partnership and the European Union Regional Development Fund. And the project, supported by Peace 3, has at its heart the idea of using dramatic processes to promote peace building and reconciliation. And it's presented by Smashing Times Theatre Company. And our work is about using drama and theatre to engage with issues to do with social justice and to do with equality, and to give people a high quality artistic experience, but then also to use those experiences to look at the world we're living in. And we're not telling people how the world should be changed. I think that's very important, that our work is not didactic and shouldn't be. It's simply telling stories, and it's creating an environment where people can engage on an emotional level with other people's stories, and then opening up the area for debate. So what we're saying is, look at these areas, let's talk about them. And it's like Auguste Boal said, we're not telling people the answers, but what we're saying is we are on the side of the oppressed, and we are on the side of wanting a better future and wanting social justice and wanting equality. And I think we're very lucky to be able to use our art form to engage in that type of work. And there's a great response to it as well.